Greetings, I'm Doc V. We're back on Maslow's need hierarchy, and today I wanted to talk about racism and oppression against African American male. And I'm frustrated because a few moments ago I just watched the news and they showed 3 young black males were caught robbing a high-end clothing store. They ran in, busted in, grabbed $7,000 worth of clothing off the racks and ran out, jumped in the car, tried to make a getaway. Some concerned citizens made a phone call and the police cornered them and caught them and packed them in and boom, had it on film. Arresting these 3 brothers, taking the merchandise back to the stores and locking them up. They were between 18 and 21 years old. I'm trying to talk about racism and how we're oppressed and how do we get out of this mess and how do we get back to respect and how do we get back to being positive contributors to society. And I watch the news and I don't even know where to go on the need pyramid today. Physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, self-actualization. I don't even know where to begin. This is frustrating. This is frustrating. This is something that needs to be addressed, and I'm going to do my best to reach out to my young brothers, because it's not all of us. It is not all of you young men. There's some of us that are making positive contributions. There's some of us that are doing great things. But what makes the news? Bad news sells. Let me talk a little bit. When I was coming up as a young boy in Ohio, I didn't realize the racism, the oppression, the things that were going on because I was young. I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. My dad set the rules. We went to school. He set the rules for how you would how you are supposed to respect your teachers and the elders at school, how you respect people at the church, how you respect your mom and dad, and when they tell you to do something one time, it gets done. That's how I was raised. All this talking back to the parents, coming home when I want to, and she better not touch me and all this stuff, that's foreign to me. Daddy whooped our tails, and mama did too, and if she couldn't whoop it good enough, she went and got dad. I'm recalling the worst whooping I ever got. And guess what? I don't even remember it. What do you mean? How do you know it's the worst whooping you ever got if you don't even remember it? Well, let me tell you what happened. I did something and it got on my mom's nerves. I'm guessing I was 12, 13, around in there. I did something. I don't even remember what it was. And mom said, Vaughn, I'm Doc V, my first name is Vaughn. Vaughn, go out there and get me a switch and I'm going to whoop your tail. And I was like, okay, Mom. So I went out back in the weeded area behind the house and I found the flimsiest piece of switch that I could find. I found a dry switch about 5 feet long, and it was kind of dry and, it was light like balls of wood or something, like air could go through it. And I was like, this will do it. Brought her in. My mom said, get over here. My mom, at 12, I was taller than my mom. 13, I was taller than my mom, a little bit taller. Mom said, get over here. She grabbed the switch and she hit me on the legs and I started going through my act. Oh, she hit me again and the stick just shattered in 3 pieces. And I was thinking the whooping's over. She said, what is this? This ain't no switch. And I was like, trying to go through the act and everything. Same time my dad was coming in. My dad's like, what's going on? I don't even remember what I did. Mom said, well, Vaughn did this, and I told him to do this, and he did that. And Dad said, give me that switch. Dad took the remaining piece of the switch, and he pulled it up, and it broke into another 2 pieces. Dad got mad, looked at it, threw it down, went to the kitchen, opened the kitchen drawer, and grabbed the knife out of the kitchen drawer. And I'm like, and he busted out through the back door, and I saw him walking out to the wooded area. He got the knife, went through those trees and branches, grabbed the biggest branch he could find, and started cutting, and boom, pulled that branch off, and he started ripping off the smaller leaves, and he started testing for the flexibility. All of a sudden, my dad started whipping it through there, woo, 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 woo. Turned around, 6'3", 220 pounds, started walking back toward the house. Boom, boom. Y'all probably thinking, how come you ain't that big if your dad was 6'3", 220? I took after my mama. Getting back to the story. Dad busted in with the switch, and as God is my witness, I do not remember that whooping. I don't remember anything else about that story. The trauma that I went through just watching my dad get that switch, get that knife, and prepare that switch to come and whoop my tail, I think I passed out. I really feel that I passed out. I don't know what happened. What's the point of my story? Point of my story is my dad didn't go for any nonsense. He didn't go for any foolishness. And I didn't understand why he was such a hard taskmaster on me. When Dad said, take the garbage out, boom, my head asked me to do it but one time. Mop the kitchen floor, boom. Clean the bathroom, boom. Cut the grass, boom. Dad didn't have to ask me twice. So why was he so hard on me? Let me share a little something else with you. I got this through reasonable sources or dependable. This information was reliable. Someone came to me and they said, I want you to know something. I said, I think you can handle it right now. He said, the reason your dad is so hard on you, let me tell you something that you don't know about. My dad got promoted. He started working, we were little babies. He started working the assembly line at the car assembly plant, Ford Motor Company. He was promoted to foreman after some years, and then general foreman, and then superintendent. My dad was the big boss, and he was the big black man working in an environment where you had blacks, whites, Asians, Puerto Ricans, everybody. And I was proud of my dad. My dad came home, he paid the bills. We always had nice things. And someone told me, let me tell you why your dad's so hard on you. They said one day, your dad got on somebody's nerves. They called him Bo. Dad was supervising, got on somebody's nerves. And this person, through a reliable source, was planning on coming back to kill my father. He said, I'm tired of this man. I'm tired of how he talks to me. I'm tired of how he's running here trying to run things, and I can't stand it no more. I hate the man. So he went and got a gun, polished it, got it loaded up, and came to work. And he said, Bo Shores, that's my dad, talked to me off one time. That's it. I'm taking him out. The person said that, got some people together and they prayed and they said, oh God. And for some reason, my dad didn't go to that person's workstation that day. My dad didn't call him to the office that day. My dad didn't raise his voice to that man that day. And that day, the man went home with his gun unused, and my dad was untouched. My dad is going to be with the Lord. It's been since 1997. And this story was shared. This story was shared around that time when my dad was getting ready to go on to be with the Lord. And I was ready for it. It just made me think, wow, they were trying to hurt my dad. Why would they try to hurt my dad? And it was because my dad was coming up through a time where black men were not respected. They weren't in charge. They weren't over white workers. They weren't over half of the plant. This was something that where you had to be twice as good to be placed at a certain level amongst peers that didn't look like you and didn't come from your background. As I began to mature and learn and grow, I learned that my dad was The things that he did were based on the things that he went through, or the things that he was experiencing at work. I got another quick story. Elementary school. I don't know. I'm jumping around here because I'm going somewhere. Elementary school. It was Christmas time, right after Christmas time, and we went to the school, and the kids had their toys. They had their toys from Christmas, and the teacher decided, okay, well, Johnny, you come and show us what you got for Christmas. And Johnny showed his little fire truck. And then Billy came over, and Billy showed his little dump truck and how you crank it, and it would dump stuff and blocks out. And I was looking around at that, and I was like, I didn't bring a toy. I didn't bring a toy. I didn't bring anything. They had the little Sharon came, and she had a baby doll, and the baby doll, you could comb her hair and tie her hair up, and everybody was going through that, and I was like, I didn't bring my toys for show and tell. Well, I never forgot that. Never forgot it. 365 days later, another Christmas time came, and I had the Remco Swampmobile. It was this orange car that you could change the hood, you could change the chassis, you could change the bumper, you could change the design on it, and it had 4 batteries in it, and you just turn that thing on and it would just go. And it was called the Swampmobile, the Remco Swampmobile, made from Remco. And I said, this year I'm going to go to show and tell, and I'm going to have the best Christmas gift. Wait till they see this. Well, I put it in a paper bag, went on to school, walked to school, and for some reason, we didn't have show and tell. The teacher was trying to do classwork. The teacher was trying to teach us the lesson. The teacher was trying to get us on the next chapter. And I wanted to show the kids, I want y'all to see my Swampmobile. Why isn't she letting the kids bring their Christmas gifts to show what they got for Christmas? Why isn't she doing this? So I don't know if the teacher called my dad, or I don't know what happened. I was kind of sad, and went and got my book bag, and I put my Remco Swampmobile up and put the parts in the bag and everything. And I was coming home, and I took it out of the bag, and my dad was pulling up at the same time I was taking my Swampmobile out of the bag. And my dad looked up at me and he said, boy, did you take that toy to school? I said, well, yeah, we had show and tell. Boy, did you take that toy to school? You're supposed to be in school working, getting your lesson, and you taking toys to school, boy? I'm going to whoop your tail. Oh, my God. When my dad said you were getting a whooping, you were getting a whooping. Might not have been 10 seconds after he said it. Might have been 10 minutes. Might have been 2 hours, but my dad never wrote that check and didn't cash it. I was going to get my tail whooped. Dad took his belt, dragged me downstairs, and he beat me. And it took years before I could forgive him. It took years before I could understand, why you beat me like that? What did I do? What did I do? And as I matured, and as I went through some racial experiences myself, racial oppression or racial discrimination, or some incidents that I went through while I was in college or while I was away from home, I began to understand my dad was about business. He didn't want me to play when it was time to work. He didn't want me to take education for granted when it was time to study and take care of your business. He did not understand the story of why I took the toy to school and why I wanted to show off my Remco Swampmobile like the kids did years before. But I didn't understand my dad either. He didn't understand why I would be so rebellious and not listen to the things he taught me. And I didn't understand why I got beat for trying to show off my Remco Swampmobile until years later. It was years later, as I was out in the real world and experienced discrimination, experienced sabotage and things that happened to people trying to destroy me and my name, all only because I was trying to bring myself up with the wider, W-I-D-E-R, population. Dad said, dress nice, speak correctly, carry yourself well, and remember how you were taught, and you'll do fine. That's what I was doing. And what I learned was that was not always the answer, or let me say it this way, the positive outcome didn't always come. Due to my race, my skin tone, my being considered an African American, or back then it was Black American, or when I was a little kid it was Negro, I didn't understand what was going on. As I matured and went through my own battles, I understood my dad. He was hard, he was rough, but he was strong. And some of that strength rubbed off on me. I know it did. Because now, and I give God the glory,